why you think it is the coolest or why it is the most important. Yeah, it's just the signature. So it's just like really fast to look. Other people are cool.
I just remember what I had on it. I was just checking it out.
I will do about 30 more seconds to wrap up. Make sure you have at least 2 sentences explaining your answer. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So let's close our Chromebooks, put our distractions away. Would anyone like to share their answer? What is the coolest / most important, most amazing word in English? Quentin, what is it and why?
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious.
I love it. And why
Mary
is that the greatest word in English?
Because it's off of Mary Poppins, which is a musical. It's amazing.
It is amazing. It's also just like, an incredibly long, complicated, fantastical word.
I had to search it past it.
That's good. Using your resources, I love it. Brianna, what is the most important
Hamilton.
word?
Because it's a beautiful masterpiece of 2 hours and 33 minutes.
How did I just know that you were going to say that? I knew it. I love it. Yes. You are the Hamilton expert of probably the world. So I love it. That's awesome. Jack, what's the most important word and why?
The coolest word is coolest because it's cool because it has the word cool in it.
A little bit of circular reasoning, but I'll take it.
My favorite
Charlie, what's the coolest word and why?
Establishmentarianism.
Ooh.
I say that it's the coolest word because it's hard to say for a lot of people.
All right. Just kind of you sound really smart. You sound very dignified. Maybe say it in a British accent. Okay, I like it. Jay, what's the coolest word? Why?
Your own name.
Your own name. Ooh, so it's different for every person? I like that. Tell me why. Why is your name so important?
know, I just, you said that because it is you.
Even if it's maybe a little hard to explain, there's something really special there, right? Our identity is tied up in our name. And that's actually a pretty fantastic segue into what we're going to talk about today, because the things that we call things, our names for things, they are very, very important. So I'm about to introduce our extra faces in the room. You might have noticed that there's 2 more people than normal in our room. But before we do that, I want to make sure that we are totally ready to listen and be respectful today. So again, make sure we have Chromebooks closed all the way. We don't need them at all today. So go ahead and just, put those away. Love it. And I just want to take a moment to review. We know that respect is our number 1 rule in this classroom, but sometimes we need to review what that looks like. So today, as we have a guest speaker, raise your hand if you can tell me one way that you can show your respect. Jay, what's one way we can show it? Yes, we're not going to talk while our speaker is talking. I love it. What else are we going to do to show our respect today? Corinne, what else?
Use eye contact.
Yes, we're going to use eye contact. So that means we're going to be facing our speaker. We're not going to have our head down. We're going to be giving them our attention. I like that. What else? What else can we do to show our respect today? Anybody else? Jay, another one?
Pay attention.
Pay attention. Yes. We're going to do our best to learn, soak in all that good knowledge. Makai, what else?
Eye contact.
Yes, we did already say that one, but it's important enough to say twice. I agree. Eye contact is good. That's how we show people that we're listening, right? You might be listening if you're not making eye contact, but your speaker doesn't know it. That's very good. Oh, Jay, one more.
Raise your hand when you want to ask questions.
Yes, raise your hand when you want to ask a question. That's super good. I know that questions are definitely welcome today. So let's go ahead and introduce our new faces in the room. So in the back here, this is Mrs. Jeffers. You have 2 very important people for your education in the room right now. So Mrs. Jeffers is the middle school and high school liaison for Indian Education for All, which pretty much means that she's amazing, and she goes to all the middle schools and high schools in the whole district to help teachers and students learn about the stuff that we're learning today. She's been super helpful to me, so I really appreciate her. And then our speaker, this is Mrs. Rushi. So all the way back, it was already like 2 weeks ago. We got a little messed up there with snow day and everything else. But remember that she is here to talk to us about language and culture. And she has a pretty awesome presentation. She's got some stuff to show us today. So just a reminder, we do want to be making eye contact, not shouting out, raising your hands when you have questions, all those good, respectful things that I know you all are very good at. So without further ado, Mrs. Rushi.
All right, thank you so much. Yes, I do the same thing Mrs. Jeffers does, but she does the high school and middle school, and I do all 22 elementary schools. So what I do is I go in and help teachers if they want ideas on how to teach about American Indians. And you probably learned this already, but in 1972, Montana passed a law that everybody should learn about all the tribes in Montana, and which I'm pretty happy about, because we weren't able to learn about my culture when I was a little girl going to school, and so it's really important to me that we are now able to do that. Let's see, when you guys go to tape, I'll record, I'll take this off so you can hear better, but if there's anybody in the back row that you can't hear me very well, I'll take off my mask. The reason I wear my mask is because well, I went ahead and had my shots and my booster shots, so I'm safe for COVID, but I want to be respectful because whenever I'm around elders, I wear my mask, or anybody immune compromised, so in case I was carrying something, because like I said, I go to 22 elementary schools. Yesterday I was at a school, I don't want to carry something, I don't want to be a carrier. And a lot of people live with elders in their house, and so that's why they will wear masks. So for whatever reason you have yours, it's your own personal reason, just like my personal reason for having mine on. It's out of respect, like your teacher was talking. With our culture, respect is a big, important, probably one of the most important things that we learn as a child growing up. And like I remember going to ceremonies, and all of the kids knew to sit and be quiet and not run around and be loud. And we never had to be told. We were just from being a baby on up, you learn that without ever having to be told. So I guess we learned a lot of things without words. I did wanted to mention one thing, because since you mentioned eye contact, I also like eye contact, so you know you're paying attention. And when I taught remote last year, I really liked having people have their camera on, so I knew somebody was there and actually listening. But I also know that a lot of students can learn without looking at you, and sometimes they feel intimidated in looking at me. So, but I do know if you turn your head around, then you can't hear. I used to have an algebra teacher that would talk like this at the board, and he'd be like doing his algebra math, and I could not hear what he was saying. So see, when you turn around, your voice gets more muffled and you can't hear. So, so you don't have to be looking directly at me, because I realize some people don't like to have the eye contact. I'm totally respectful of that. All of the Montana tribes are different and unique from each other, just like all of the countries. So we could say Japan is different than France, and France is different than Germany. They all speak different languages, and they have different cultures, different foods. They wear different, I guess, clothing. Like some countries where the boys wear kilts. So, you know, whatever the culture is, that's how our tribes are. We're different in Montana from each other, just the same way. And you guys probably know how many tribes are in Montana, right? Does anybody know? Just out of curiosity, what do you think in the back?
7.
There's actually 7 reservations, but we're actually going to start counting Little Shell, because they have 3 acres now, and were recognized in 2020, so we'll say 8 reservations. So good job knowing that. What do you think? 12, you're right. There's 12 different, so it's like having 12 different countries in Montana, because our languages are, well, actually there's Fort Peck and Fort Belknap, it's the same, but we have different languages, different customs, a lot, like a long time ago you could look at somebody and tell what tribe they were from. Anymore you can't really, because so many of us have changed from going to boarding schools, or like now going to powwows and marrying other people from other tribes. Now a lot of us might be 2, 3, or 4 different tribes combined, and so they might have different, like have learned from all of those different tribes and combined into one. Did you have something to say?
I'm part of the Northern Cheyenne.
Oh, that's cool. So see, we have Northern Cheyenne, and a lot of the tribes call themselves something different than Northern Cheyenne. Like the government called us Assiniboine, which is actually an Ojibwe word. We call ourselves Nakoda. The Ojibwe called us stone boilers, because we would take hot stones from a fire to cook, to make our soups and our meat. And so if you take a hot stove from a fire and put it into cold water, it boils faster than a microwave. I've tried this. Same with if you take your red bison meat on a stick and put it in, it cooks faster than a microwave. So we were the stone boilers to other tribes, but we called ourselves Nakoda. And that was meant the people at peace or friends with each other, because we had a big trading post. We had several trading posts, but the biggest one I was aware of was Fort Union, where I lived. So besides all of the tribes having their different cultures and customs, like I said, you used to be able to tell what they were by looking at them, because like Northern Cheyenne women will wear their feather up behind their head, whereas our Nakoda wear it off to the side. The Nakoda usually never wore black, like to dance, and like the Ani people would wear black. The Crow call themselves Abzalika. And on that link I had, I think your teacher shared the PowerPoint, right? There was a sign language video that kind of talks about it, but my daughter married a man that's Ani, and when explorers came to ask him, what's your name, in sign language, which is really cool, all of North America Indians could communicate with sign language. So this is yes, ha, with all languages. So they, for thousands of years, they didn't have the same language, but they could communicate with sign language. It's not like that anywhere else in the world, except North America with American Indians. So it's really cool. We could communicate with sign language. But they asked the Ani what's their name, and they were signing, and they actually signed where you come from. So they're like, oh, from up there where the falls are. Since they were French explorers, they said, oh, you have big bellies, we'll call you Grovant, because in French, Grovant means big belly. And they call themselves the Ani people. So all of the names are wrong in Montana from the government, from miscommunication of the sign language, when you were talking about how important names are. So that's how that happened with all of the tribes. And like your teacher said, if you have any questions, please stop me, and I'll try to address it as we go. All right, so one of the things I want to show you, well, I'm going to go over, well, maybe, I can't remember if I did my family pictures first or the order of how we did it. But maybe we'll talk about this language revitalization. I'll show you a picture of my family really quick.
Yeah, do pictures first.
So this picture is my grandma and grandpa. And so, like with everything, so I'm going to tell you my story. And that's kind of where we get the word, I think, history. His story or her story. So whenever you're telling somebody's story, you may want to make sure if it's their story, if you have permission to tell their story again, and to say it with in a good way. We always say things, like I said, from the time we're babies, we know that respect is important, and we know that having a good mind and doing things in a good way is important. So for example, I brought some things like a jingle dress, some moccasins, some earrings. When you're making some of that thing, you have to make sure you have a good mind and a good heart, because you'll be sharing that with other people. So, and like I said, that's just one of those things that we were never really taught. Like we didn't say, come in and sit down, have a good mind, have eye contact, pay attention, be respectful. We didn't have to say that. Everybody just knew that if you were going to be talking or having a ceremony or something, you were to act that way. So this is my grandpa and grandma. I was able to spend a lot of time with them because they were actually grooming my sister, the oldest grandchild, to be a medicine woman, but because my mom was sick a lot, she was pregnant with my brother, I was able to go. So I was there a lot when people would say, come to my grandpa and say, hey, can you give my baby a name? And like we were talking, names are very important, because one of the students, I don't know if it's this class or not, asked about their name. And names were really important. Usually they were given like a family name at birth. So like a lot of our family names are like Rainbow Woman or things like that with the cloud or the weather. But then as kids earned different things, like if they were really good at hunting, they might have, like my other grandpa, I'll show you my grandpa's dad, I'll show you a picture of him. His name was, he whets his arrow because he was such a good hunter, and he would actually lick his arrow when he would, whoops, can't get this to turn. I guess I moved him way down there. Right there, he would lick his arrow before he would shoot. And so they named him, he whets his arrow. But the government shortened it down to just whets it. So now the name is whets it instead of he whets his arrow. But that's how, like I said, names are very important. Let me see if I'll just go back up to the top again. I moved my pictures around and forgot I did that. So the reason I want to show you this picture too is it has a lot to do with language. Both my grandma and grandpa were sent to boarding schools. My grandpa was sent to Chamawa. Does anybody know where that is? It's in Oregon, and I'm from Wolf Point, northeast corner of Montana. So he was treated really badly in boarding schools and ran away when he was 10 years old in the winter. And you guys know we just had a storm. I didn't even want to like bundle up and go outside and feed my horses. It was so cold. So, and I think about that all the time because he traveled all that way in the winter when he was only 10 years old, and it's a miracle he lived. My grandma also attended a boarding school and was not treated very well, and they both talked about always being hungry. So I really want to share that story because of, one, language, and two, it is in the United States. We also had Carlisle Boarding School, which is in Pennsylvania. They were all over, because some people have said to me, why are we learning about boarding schools? That happened in Canada. Well, before we had the line dividing us between USA and Canada, like the Piikani tribe, the Blackfeet tribe, it was the whole area. And then when they put the border with the countries, it cut them off. So it was all one huge area. So yes, we did have boarding schools in the USA. My grandparents went to them. They cut off their hair, didn't feed them, punished them if they spoke their language. So when I was a little girl and I'd come running in the kitchen and they'd be speaking Nakoda and I'd come in with my sister, they'd stop. Because they were told that we'll take away your kids if you teach them the language. They told we'll take away your grandkids if you teach them the language. So they knew they could never teach us the language. Just like ceremonies. A lot of tribes weren't able to even practice their religious ceremonies until 1970, even though they finally got citizenship in 1924 after many of them fought in World War I. So because of that, language is so important to me. I can now log on, like today I'll log on a Wednesday and Saturday, and I'm able to speak the language with my granddaughter who's at Brown University in Rhode Island. My sister who's in Wolf Point, I'm able to log on and talk with her. We have relatives down in New Mexico, so all over the United States, we're now able to learn our Nakoda language. And so bringing back the language is really personal to me because it's something we couldn't do when we were a little girl, when I was a little girl. They couldn't teach it to me. They did not have the right to do that. So any questions about that before I move on? No? Okay, so let me show you some of the, I'll go back to the other slide and we'll go over some words. And I did bring my colors. I thought it'd be easier. Last time I was trying to do this wheel up there and I got confused. Doesn't always, oh, and here's our gradings too. Doesn't always take me a lot to do or get me confused. So first I'll go over greetings. So first of all, to say, well, I guess I should have put come in up at the top, but anyway. So when you see somebody, if you want to say hello, my friend, you'd say ha kona, or if it's somebody you know, like I was able to see Mr. Warner last week, I'd say ha mikona because it's my friend. But if it's just a friend is kona, so you could say ha kona. And ha, I need to get one of those language keyboards, but whenever you see this like nasalized over the letter, that means you kind of nasalize it so you go ha. So instead of ha, it's ha. So if you guys could try saying ha kona. Ha kona. Can you guys in the back row hear okay with my mask on? Okay, good. And then to say how are you, we'd say Dokenya'u. You guys try it. Dokenya'u. And if I was speaking to an elder, I'd say Dokenyashka. Try that. Dokenyashka. So that's something you'd say to me because I'm your elder. I'm a grandma, so you could actually call me that. And then if you say, oh, I haven't seen you, like I hadn't seen Mr. Warner for a long, long time, I could say, Daya wachindaga. You guys try it. Daya wachindaga. You guys are really good at this. And then if you want to introduce yourself, oh, I didn't introduce myself, did I? Chaje mitawa, Mrs. Rushi. You guys could say Chaje mitawa, Mrs. Rushi. And it's a tricky language. We don't have some letters like, I think you saw that, like R. And so a lot of our kids, when they would start school, couldn't say the R very well and they'd get referred to speech. But it's because we don't have R in our language and some other letters. So Mitawa is my name. Tawa is just name, your name. So if I said Chaje Nitawa, hey, I'd be saying, what's your name? So we change the M to the N or take it off. So it's like I said, we have first person, second person, and third person in our words. So and then it really gets confusing with like brothers and sisters. I call my sister, older sister, Michuna. It gets confusing. So then if I say come in, I'd say Tin-u. Tin-u, good. And then to sit down, Iodanga. And I guess this is the Indian sign language for sit down. Iodanga, good. And then thank you, Pinamayaya. Pinamayaya. And nowadays they're cutting it off and they're just saying Pinamaya. People are starting to talk faster than I remember Grandma and Grandpa talking. And they're also cutting words shorter instead of saying the long word. And probably because our society, we're just moving faster, doing 100 things at a time, and we're just talking faster and cutting words shorter. And then there's no goodbye in Nakoda because we always figured we'll see you again, even if it's in the afterlife. And so we always say, well, we have two different sayings. I'll teach you this one. Ake wachimnagita. Ake wachimnagita. But my mom says doksha. You can try doksha. And that actually means don't worry, I'll see you again. Because somebody will say, will you be at the feed next week or whatever? She'd always say doksha, like don't worry about it, I'll be there, don't worry. So, and plus it's easier to say and shorter, so we use that one. I should type that one on there. Okay, and then, any questions or more greetings you want to know? Okay, oh, you have a question?
So I'm guessing you guys have your own like form of writing language.
So this is what's interesting is, for thousands of years ago, we only had, like, certain people kept track of things, and they would do it like on a winter count, on a hide. Like if you're traveling along and some big event happened, like there was a meteor shower or something, they'd record that on their bison hide. And then when they would get to a nice place where you could carve onto a rock, like where I grew up, there was a big wall of rocks, kind of like you guys have here on the rims, and you guys have pictograph caves over there. We also had some pictograph caves where they recorded events, and so that's how we kept track of stuff. We didn't have written books. That's why we do not have very many books on Nakoda people. This is Land of Nakoda, and my great-grandpa, Hiwetzezero, is in here. And it wasn't until like the 60s and 70s that I'm trying to think of what his name is, Ken Ryan, but I think he says it's Black Horse. So I think he says, what is it? Oh, Tashunga Saba. So he started doing some research on the language and interviewing people and started documenting it. So it wasn't until 1970 when this was published. And then from there, they did a dictionary. So we did not have a written language like some tribes developed a written language earlier, like, is it the Cherokee I'm thinking of? I forgot. I think it's the Cherokee. They developed a language earlier than us. So that's a good question. We didn't have, all of ours was oral. Like I said, stories, like history. His story, her story. That's a very good question. Okay, so I'm going to go, this is what I was telling you about we have first person, second person, third person. So for me, I call my older sister Michuna. And my older sister calls me Mitanga. And then if I'm talking about her older sister, I'd say Nichuna. And if I was talking about all of your older sisters, I'd say Chunguna. So it gets to be kind of a complicated language when you start looking at it like that. And then I didn't fill out the brother. I will get that filled out for you. So that can be kind of confusing. Okay, and here's, these are the letters we do not have in the alphabet. F, L, R, B, R, and B, sorry. And no long vowels like A or I. So it would be like or I, right? Bless you. Oh, we have a question over here.
Do you have a word for like if you had a sibling that was the exact same age as you, like a twin?
Yeah, you would just call, well, I don't really remember if anybody on having a twin, actually. But it would be just like your sister. So you would still say, oh, you mean would you call them older or younger? That's a good point. I guess I'm not sure. I would just say, well, I guess you could say, you could ask your mom who was born first. Because even though you're born on the same day, somebody's always born first, right? So that's a very good question. I don't know that. Let's see, I want to make sure to talk about these things too. I did link the dictionary there, and I put, I don't know if we'll have time to talk about the eagles, the long hair, the interacting map. We'll see if we can come back to that. Because what time do we go till?
We've got like 10 minutes.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and go over some colors, and then we'll do animals really fast. Okay, so I'll turn it, I did put the word on this side, but I had them up in my wall and they faded, so you can't see the color very well. So like this is actually red. So I'm gonna turn them around this way and hold them up. So red is sha. And see when the sun faded out, it looks pink. And then orange is ri. And then yellow is still the same, except now some people are starting to say, for orange, they're starting to say ri sha, combining both the yellow and the red, because yellow is ri. So now they're starting to change what I've noticed. And then I also noticed I think I had the old word for, what was it on there? I just changed it, I forgot what I changed. I think I changed purple. Because some people would say tosha or pejito, and I had learned tosha, but anyway, so there's one change on that slide. So for green, we say pejito, and blue is, oops, let me hold it up so you can see the back color. Toe. Can everybody see that? I'm not doing it very good. And then this is tosha, purple. And pink is sha'imna. And brown is Z. And gray is hoda. So wherever you see the X in our language, and I don't know why he did this, it'd be Ken Ryan when he was writing stuff down. It's like a sound, like, you know, when you're gonna spit, is. So whenever you see it in our written language, that's the sound it makes. And then white, oh, I guess I can turn it either way. White didn't fade out. Is ska. And I have staples in there that are distracting me. Okay, and then black is saba. Okay, then let me go over some animals really quick. I also did numbers too before I got to animals, didn't I? I'm trying to hurry because we only have 10 minutes. So I'll just do my counting on my fingers first, and then I'll go over the animals. Okay, so I'll just count on my hand first for the numbers. We'll just go to 10. Waji, Numba, Yamni, Doba, Zapta, Shape, Shagoi. Oh, sorry, some people like to do both hands. This is sign language that I was doing. Where was I? Zapta. Shape, Shagoi. Or the old word is Yushna. Shaknocha, Nakjucha, Winkjemna. And then if we wanted to go on, I won't go on, but it would be just like Agay, Waji, Agay, Numba. But I'll get into the animals. I want to go over these really fast. So bison is Tatanga. Horse is Shungatanga. Eagle is Wamni. Dog is Shunga. And did you notice dog is Shunga and horse is Shungatanga? So it's just big dog. Tonga is big. So we just call a horse a big dog. And then porcupine, sorry, did somebody say something? Okay. Porcupine is Pahi. Oops, there we go. Bear is Mato. But because I put a picture of a black bear on there, I put Mato Saba. Because remember, Saba is black. And that's one thing about our language, it describes things. And the other thing to remember about our language is there's a lot of words that they didn't use back then. Like, I doubt if they counted, or why would they need money? They didn't have money back then. So nowadays, when people will ask, well, how do you say a word? They'll go to Ken Ryan, which he's still teaching classes. Like Wednesday night, he'll be on our Zoom. And they'll say, how do you say cell phone or microwave? Because they didn't have those things long ago. They didn't even have refrigerators. Remember, we cooked by like putting a hide down in the ground and putting hot rocks in to get our water to boil. That's how we used to cook. Do you have a question?
Oh, why do you say bear black?
Oh, I didn't explain that. That's a good question. So with our language, we do the noun first, then the adjective, and then the verb. So it's like switched. Is that how Spanish is? Anybody speak Spanish?
That's what it said. It was said that Spanish was special before.
All right, so, yeah, so Spanish and Nakoda both have noun first, and, right? And English is the other way, right?
Yeah, I did two first. Yeah.
Okay. So that's a good question, I'm glad you noticed that. So mountain lion is Inkmu Tonga. And I was trying to do some pictures earlier and it wouldn't let me cut and paste, but so a lynx is Inkmu. But when we add the Tonga, it means big, so it's like a big lynx, it's a mountain lion. And then wolf is, remember, dog was Shunga, horse is Shunga Tonga. This actually means bad dog. So we say Shunk Togaja. And then we have cat, Booza. And we never used to have a cat. So this is a new word because we had, like bobcat or a lynx and mountain lions in North America. We didn't really have a cat. And so this is one of those new words. Like another new word that my granddaughter likes is pickles, which is goom goom. And we didn't have, so this is one of our new words. I should go through here and put old word, new word. That might be kind of fun. And then prairie chicken. These are the prairie chickens that I know that we used to watch and they dance around in a circle. And then we have dancers that do that same dance. So in our powwows, we have a chicken dance song and we call them shio. That's different than the kind of chicken that you raise now and cut up and send to Kentucky Fried Chicken. Those are called amba u hotu. Do you guys want to try that? Amba u hotu. That's like, yep, so that's like that kind of chicken. This is our, they're native to North America, so it's our prairie chicken. Different kind of chicken. And the dance is different too. The dance kind of replicas the prairie chicken, the shio, whereas you guys are thinking of that other, how's that go, the chicken dance? Put your left foot in, or you do the hokey pokey, that one? Yeah, that's a totally different dance than a chicken dance. Okay, and then elk is hakaga. So I'm on to 11. And how much time do we have?
Like
1 minute.
4 minutes.
Okay, I'm gonna go really fast. I'll just show you guys. I did crane was pehagi. Yeah, thank you. I was having trouble with my math getting that pronghorn, tatogana. And remember, antelope is what's in Africa. In North America, is pronghorn. Just like buffalo is Africa, and in North America, it's bison. So a lot of these words, when explorers were coming over, they'd say, oh, that looks like the animal we have at our country. And so that's how a lot of the names are wrong or messed up. I'm going to just go through, I'm going to skip these really fast because I want us to get to, like I said, a long time ago we didn't have money, but now we do, so we had to come up with a word like mazaska. Ska is like, remember, white, so the white coins would be where that came from. They described the money. Same with the penny, was kind of red, or the copper is kind of red. So we'd say wiyawasha. And so our names for our money describes what the money looked like, because we didn't have to have it a long time ago. There's language apps that you can get on your phone. These are some Nakoda ones, but there's like Crow apps, there's Salish apps. Every tribe has, I guess I listed them on here, all the different tribes, Ojibwe, Chippewa, they have apps that you can get on your phone if you want to learn more about your language. Like you might want a Northern Cheyenne app, the boy who's Northern Cheyenne. And then these are some links to some Nakoda speakers that if you want to listen to. There's a lot recorded on Ken Ryan. I need to get it linked on there. I just haven't done that yet. Okay, are there any questions? I know I went through this super fast. I don't know where time went.
We've got about like 3 minutes for questions.
Okay.
So I know that some of you, it was a long time ago already that we submitted questions on that Google form, but if there's anything you're still curious about?
Yeah, back there.
What language do you think?
What's that?
What language do you think in?
Do I think in? Oh, because I grew up English speaking, I speak English first, but my grandpa would speak, his native language was Nakoda, So he would have to think to say, how do you say that in English? That's a good question. I know before, I think there were some questions about powwows. And the one thing I want to show you about a powwow is, so this is my grandma and grandpa. And then, so we don't have our buckskin dresses. All of our buckskin clothes burned up in a fire. These are my grandkids. They're all dancers. We had a go home me dance, a couples dance for my parents, and Ipsalica, they call it a push dance. And so Dad's dad, right here, or my grandpa's dad is a chief, and my grandma's dad is a chief, Redstone. And so both sides we had a chief, and so I know a lot about how the chiefs take care of people. So if somebody would come and ask them to name their baby, they'd name their baby. If they asked for food, they'd give them some food or blankets, whatever they needed. They took care of the people. And so that's one thing I want you guys to think about when you get older. Are our leaders today taking care of our people? Why do we have so many kids that are homeless and hungry? Because with us, if a chief wasn't taking care of the people, we'd remove him, the women would, and they'd put in a new chief. So I'm hoping as you guys are our leaders and you do a better job running our country than our leaders are right now. The other thing was about the chief too is he'd say, if somebody named our baby, he'd say, we have to do some things. One, we have to invite everybody, because they knew everybody helps raise the child. We have to feed everybody and feed guests first, family last, and we give gifts. So we call it a giveaway. So a lot of people, when I say giveaway, I know what that means and I don't think much of it. But other people don't understand. It'd be big gifts. So like we'd give away star quilts or Pendleton blankets or bison robes or whatever you had. We'd give away horses. Whatever we had, we'd give it away to people because we knew all these people are going to help raise our child. And then we have another giveaway when they graduate from Head Start or kindergarten, 8th grade, high school, college, when they come back to a war. So we're always having a giveaway. So to me, it's like Christmas all year long because we're always getting family together. Everybody gets a gift. Everybody gets to eat. So it's really the stuff I have learned is really a beautiful culture, but the stuff I was taught in school was not true and it was not beautiful. They would talk about savages and about using the term squaw, which is very offensive to women. And so I'm glad now we're able to learn the real truth about American Indians, and it's okay to learn our language. So you guys have been great. You guys have been very respectful and awesome and great questions.
Yes, I think we should say thank you to Mrs. Rushi, and I think it'd be good to say that in Nakoda. So, Hinamaya.